Under the dim buzz of gym lights, the air hums with the sound of gloves thudding against leather. A heavyweight, massive, confident, eyes burning with a kind of pride that comes from towering over most men, takes his stance across from Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The moment hangs in the air like an electric storm about to break. What follows will ripple through gyms, locker rooms, and podcasts across the world. Because when the bell rings, and the punches start to fly, something impossible happens. The smaller man doesn't just hold his own, he ends it. A thunderous left hand detonates, and the heavyweight's knees buckle as if the ground itself has given way. It's the kind of scene that doesn't need commentary, yet it's Joe Rogan, voice of combat culture, lifelong fight fan, who finds himself speechless. He's seen great knockouts. He's seen legends fall. But a lightweight flattening a heavyweight in sparring? That's different. That's mythic. Rogan's expression says it all. Disbelief laced with a strange kind of awe. He starts to describe it later. Tank's patience, his eerie calm in the ring. He talks about how Gervonta never wastes movement in those early rounds. How he stalks like a predator waiting for one perfect opening. Rogan calls it the nuclear option. That split-second decision where Tank unleashes his full power. The kind of power that doesn't just end fights, it ends discussions. Inside the gym, the witnesses can't believe it either. They've seen heavyweights, men built like sculpted tanks themselves, step forward thinking their size will protect them. But Tank's punches land with a sound that makes everyone flinch. Compact, precise, explosive. He doesn't throw many, but when he does, they land like lightning strikes. Even the biggest guys walk away shaking their heads, wondering how that kind of power can live inside a 5 feet 5 inches frame. And somewhere across the fight world, Jake Paul is watching. The YouTuber turned boxer, now turned headline magnet, has been called everything from a fraud to a savior of modern boxing. But he's no fool. He knows the business of spectacle. And Tank Davis, the knockout artist with a fighter's reputation and a celebrity's mystique, represents both danger and opportunity. Word spreads that a former sparring partner, someone who once stood in the same ring as Jake, believes Tank will not just beat him, but hurt him. Jake's never felt that kind of power, he says. Tank doesn't just hit you, he damages you. It's a blunt statement, one that slices through the usual trash talk and hype. The warning feels real. And it leaves fans wondering whether Jake, who's made a career out of defying expectations, might finally be staring down the one opponent who can't be talked away with charisma or confidence. Joe Rogan, ever the realist, doesn't dismiss Jake entirely. He gives credit where it's due. Jake's helped pull new eyes into the sport, drawn younger fans to a game that was slowly losing its pulse. He's brought energy, and maybe even a sense of fun. But when Rogan speaks about what happens inside the ropes, his tone changes. Jake's fought retired guys, he reminds his audience. He's fought MMA fighters, not boxers. Then he points to Gervonta Davis, a man who spent his life mastering every inch of the ring. That's a different reality, Rogan says quietly. And business success doesn't take punches for you. The conversation starts to turn darker when Showbiz the adult, another respected voice in the boxing world, breaks down the psychological pressure behind this fight. He explains that even if the event wears the exhibition label, its consequences are very real. For Gervonta, this isn't play. He's a world champion with a legacy to protect. Losing to a YouTuber, getting caught, humiliated, turned into a meme, wouldn't just be bad, it would be catastrophic. Tank knows it. He's felt the eyes of doubters, the whispers that his discipline is slipping. After the draw with Lamont Roach, some critics claimed he'd lost his edge. Showbiz says that's why Tank's back in the gym like a man possessed, because even in a so-called exhibition, the world is watching. And the world can be cruel. That intensity shows in every clip of his training. The sound of medicine balls slamming into the ground, Tank pushing himself past exhaustion. His team shouts reminders, touch the body, stay patient. It's not the noise of a man taking an easy payday, it's the rhythm of someone who knows the weight of reputation. He's shut down his social media, blocked out the noise, and gone dark. Demon time, they call it. A focused rage, aimed squarely at proving that no one, not even Jake Paul, can turn his name into a punchline. Still, voices rise in defense of the spectacle. Fighters like Bruce Carrington argue that matchups like Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis are saving boxing from itself. This is sports entertainment, he says. It's what puts butts in seats. Carrington sees these events as bridges, ways to draw fresh eyes, to make casual fans care again. Maybe he's right. The Floyd vs. Logan exhibition brought millions who hadn't watched a fight in years. It's not traditional, but it's alive. And in a world where attention is the new currency, maybe that's enough. But Tank doesn't see it that way. For him, the ring isn't a stage, it's sacred ground. The problem isn't the money, it's the meaning. And with every headline about Jake's training camp, every rumor about sparring partners, that meaning feels like it's being tested. Especially when one of those partners turns out to be Shakur Stevenson. That revelation sends shockwaves through the fight community. Stevenson, one of boxing's elite technicians, had publicly mocked Tank's skills, dismissing him as all power and no substance. Yet here he is, taking money to help Jake prepare to fight the same man he's been criticizing. To fans, it smells like hypocrisy. Analysts call it opportunism. One commentator compares it to an actor settling for cameos in other people's films instead of chasing leading roles. You'll never be a Denzel or a DiCaprio if you keep playing extras, he says pointedly. And right now, Shakur's an extra in Jake's movie. The debate becomes about more than just loyalty. It's about legacy, branding, and how money twists principles in the modern boxing era. Some defenders argue it's just business. Others call it selling out. But one thing is clear. The lines between pride and profit have never been blurrier. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, Tank Davis trains like a man carrying a burden heavier than gloves. The legal battles, the house arrest in Florida, the postponed fights, they've all taken a toll. The Lomachenko fight he dreamed of never happened, leaving him restless and frustrated. Instead, he was pushed into bouts that didn't feed his hunger for greatness. Now, with Jake Paul's challenge looming, Tank has something to prove again. It's not about the money or the cameras. It's about reclaiming the narrative. Paulie Malignaggi, never one to shy away from business talk, points out that the fight's location, Florida, is no accident. It's the epicenter of spectacle. Nightlife, influencers, celebrities, lights. The kind of place where a viral moment can be born. If Tank scores a highlight reel knockout there, Malignaggi predicts, his fame will explode beyond boxing. He'll cross over into mainstream superstardom. But if he fails, if Jake lands something shocking, the fallout could redefine both their careers. That's the paradox. In chasing visibility, Tank risks vulnerability. The world loves a rise, but it loves a fall even more. Still, not everyone believes in the fairy tale ending. Andy Ross, another boxing voice, offers an unpopular take. Jake Paul could actually win. His reasoning is simple. Size, reach, and unpredictability. Jake doesn't fight like a boxer from the textbook. He moves awkwardly, punches at strange angles, and carries real power. Ross isn't blind to Tank's brilliance, but he warns that arrogance can blind champions. One punch, he says, can rewrite everything. And that's what makes this story so magnetic. It's not just a fight, it's a collision between worlds. On one side, a born fighter hardened by discipline, haunted by legacy. On the other, a digital provocateur armed with reach, wealth, and momentum. The old guard versus the new media machine. Joe Rogan sums it up best. In that way only he can. It's crazy, he says, but that's what makes it exciting. You never know if someone's going to figure Tank out, or if he's just going to keep cracking people. And maybe that's the real thrill of it all. The unpredictability. The idea that for one night, under the lights, anything can happen. A YouTuber could shock the world. A world champion could silence every critic in a single round. Either way, millions will be watching, waiting for that one moment when everything changes. Because that's the beauty of boxing. It's never just about fists. It's about pride, image, power, and redemption. And as the days tick down to fight night, both men know they're walking into something much bigger than a ring. It's not just a contest of skills. It's a battle for legacy, for relevance, for identity in an era where the lines between fighter and celebrity are fading fast. And as the cameras roll, and the crowd begins to roar, the question lingers in the air like a ghost. Can Tank Davis, the destroyer of giants, survive the chaos of the circus he's about to enter? Or will Jake Paul, the entertainer-turned-contender, pull off the unthinkable one more time? Either way, the world will be watching. If you've been following this drama from the start, what do you think? Is this the moment Gervonta Davis restores boxing's pride, or the night Jake Paul shocks the sport again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you love these deep dive breakdowns into the most unpredictable stories in combat sports, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what happens next.